becomes more and more important. And that's for every guy here. We got to do it better. Our goal is to have the kind of team that nobody wants to play. And that means that we have to impose our will to dominate the competition all the time. It's all about what does it take to break you.
Kevin Steele has emerged as a candidate for Alabama's defensive coordinator job. Hey, y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this. Yes to Kevin Steele or no to Kevin Steele. Y'all let me know. So, welcome to Nick Saban Jr. Sports Talk TV. Thank y'all for tuning in. Watch the videos all the way to the end. Like and subscribe. Watch the videos to the end. Most importantly, like and subscribe. So, Kevin Steele, he emerged as a candidate for Alabama's defensive coordinator position. Man, before we start going and bashing these guys, we got that news last night. So shout out to Brock, shout out to Kangaroo Black, because I talked to Brock separately, I talked to Kangaroo Black separately, and we all talked about how do we feel about it. And for us, it makes sense. It makes sense because he has the experience at Alabama. And I'm gonna say this to Alabama fans: let's not bash these guys. Let's not give them a hard time before they even get interviewed or hired on a job, because a lot of people, I realize, don't even really know much about these guys. We don't hit a big name, we automatically feel devastated. And sometimes you got to do your research on the person. When you do your research on Kevin Steele, I know most people automatically go to where he's at now or what he has done. You go look him up now, he's at Miami right now currently. Look at Miami defense. They be like, he ain't doing enough for Miami defense. It's Miami. Miami is a has-been. Miami is a name in the past. They're still living off what they did in the 80s and the early 90s. They still living off that. So you can't hold the Miami job against them, because Miami is not recruiting on the caliber of Alabama, Georgia, or Ohio State, or all these top schools. They're not even recruiting on the, they are, but they're not recruiting on the top caliber. They're getting recruits, but they got a first-year head coach. So let's talk about Kevin Steele. 2007, Nick Saban first year at Alabama, he was the head coach. He was the defensive coordinator. After that, 2008, he was hired as a associate head coach, but he was in charge of the defense because we hired Kirby Smart. So after that season, he was hired at Clemson. He was fired on January 12th after 3 seasons. But during that 3 seasons, I want to say Clemson won the ACC in them 3 seasons. He returned to Alabama in 2013 as director of player personnel and off the field role. 2014, he came back as on the field role as a linebackers coach. In 2014, he coached some good linebackers in 2014. 2015, he was the defensive coordinator for LSU. LSU had a pretty solid defense, because as far as I remember, LSU always kept kept a good defense, kept a good team, period. So after that, he was hired from 2016, I want to say to 2020, he was an Auburn defensive coordinator. Auburn, I want to say, they beat us 2 times with Kevin Steele's defense. And if you an Alabama fan, you remember some of those tough Auburn defenses. Like, Auburn had some tough defenses in the past up under Kevin Steele. So after that, I'm going to say he was at Tennessee, but he was hired as the interim head coach at Tennessee after Jeremy Pruitt's firing and and during Josh Heupel's hiring. So after that, I think he's currently at Miami. Like I said, don't hold that job against him. Miami sucks. And all I'm saying is, we got to start asking ourselves, why does this make sense to Coach Saban? If Coach Saban is interested in a person, interviewing a person, and hiring a person, it makes sense to him. It check his boxes. It might not check our boxes as fans, but hey, our boxes don't even matter. Let's be for real. And I feel like that's a solid hire. I feel like Saban is trying to get back to the basics. He's familiar with Coach Saban. Coach Saban is familiar with him. He knows the expectations of Coach Saban. He knows a lot about Coach Saban. Coach Saban knows a lot about him. He's been coaching since he started his coaching in the in 1980. So he's been around for a long time. He has SEC ties. He runs the 4-3 scheme, which Alabama loves. It's Alabama defense. And listen, he usually, when Kevin Steele coaches the defense, he usually has a solid defensive line. And that's what we need to get back to on our defensive line. Pressuring the quarterback, affecting the quarterback. And I feel like Coach Steele is a good hire, man. I feel like he will be a good hire, good interview. But, it's also another person that Saban is interested in the coordinator job. The name wasn't out there, but he said he is looking at someone else. And maybe in a couple of days or tomorrow, maybe we'll find out who is that name that Coach Saban is also looking for. Me, I prefer Jeremy Pruitt. I remember I did a video about it was a rumor. It was a rumor, guys. It was something that I heard, it was something that I heard that he had been cleared. But a week after I did that video, other people started saying that unconfirmed sources was also saying that he was cleared. But after we heard that from the unconfirmed sources, we never heard anything much about it. So it might be some more to it. That as I looked it up some more, it was some more to it. Never knew it. Don't really understand what it is, but it was more to what Pruitt had done at Southern Tennessee. So we'll see too. We'll see about that too. So, overall, I think Kevin Steele would make sense if he were to get offered the job, just because he's familiar with the SEC. He's familiar with working with Coach Saban. He knows Coach Saban expectations, runs a 4-3 scheme. Hey, we can get back. I think Saban is trying to get back to the basics. Hey, run the ball. Let's have a balanced attack on offense. And let's get back to the nasty, gritty defense that we used to have. Because, hey, let's look at Georgia. Georgia is looking like, Alabama used to look. Nasty, gritty defense, balanced attack on offense. Nothing flashy, just a quarterback that knows how to get the ball in the playmaker hands. And I believe that's what we're trying to get back to at Alabama, because, we have gotten away from that with all the big explosive plays. That's why, if we're not having explosive plays, everybody want to say it don't look right. And this year with Bill O'Brien, it didn't look right. Past 2 seasons with Bill O'Brien, it didn't look right. Same way with Pete Golden. Past couple of seasons, defense didn't look right. It didn't look right. Y'all can say y'all was ranked this, y'all averaged this in scoring and ranked this on defense. It didn't look like the Bama standard. So with Kevin Steele, I think that's part of getting back to the basics, getting an old school guy that knows the basics of defense in college football back at Alabama. Let me know in the comments what y'all feel about this. Hey, then I also looked at Kevin Steele's recruiting. He pretty decent recruiting. He recruited Lawrence Timmons. I can't remember where Lawrence Timmons went, but I remember that name. He recruited Marcel Darius before. He recruited Barrett Jones. We all know Barrett Jones and Marcel Darius. He recruited Christian Ponder from Florida State, because he also was at Florida State. He also was at Nebraska when Nebraska won back-to-back national title. So he been around college football for a long time. He been at a lot of places before. Been at Tennessee early in his coaching career. He was at Tennessee early. He been around. So one of those coaches that been around, no SEC football, no football, college football in particularly, and Nick Saban is trying to get back to the basics, I believe. And thank y'all for tuning in and watch the channel to the beginning to the end. I should say beginning to the end. Like, subscribe. More importantly, like and subscribe. And thank y'all for watching. Roll Tide, and I'm out.